What's going on, guys? Okay, let's get straight to it. Actually, before I do that, like, comment, and subscribe, because okay, this is something that I never ever say in my videos, and I'm sure that you guys who are on YouTube all the time are tired of creators saying that, but it does help. Okay, so comment, say hi, say what you liked about the video. If you didn't like the video, say, Kyle, you suck, you could do this better. Join the email list. It's in the description box. The email list, I have reformed how I'm doing it. I'm going to be giving you guys free tips, advice, dating advice, breakup stuff, self-improvement, So I came up with like a bunch of topics that I'm going to cover. So the email list is going to be for your benefit. You know, any kind of free courses, free stuff, And in the description box as well is the free Discord. Now, part of it is locked because it's a paid. There's two versions of what I'm doing right now. There's a paid course, paid version. There's a free version. Okay, so if you guys have questions about making money online, you guys can ask those questions, and we're going to put answers to those questions. I have a business partner that I'm doing it with in that Discord. You guys can do that. You guys can, you know, totally have, I almost said intercourse, interactions with us, and we can answer those questions as often as we can. We're both busy. We're both working on a lot of things, but it's a place for you guys to go to get at least a little bit of guidance on what direction to take when it comes to cash online, you know, how to get a better job, any of that stuff. Okay. We're going to be answering those. I'm already almost 2 minutes into this video. Book is out. Description box, pinned comments, book is out. Grab the book. It looks like this. Now, here is one cool thing about Amazon. Okay. This is the book here. Okay. It's called The Masculine Way. I hope it's not too blurred out because of but The Masculine Way, Handling Break. That's what it looks like. The link will be in the description box below. I'm throwing this in there. I forgot to mention this. This book here, the Handling Breakups book, is literally just about breakups. Okay. There is some attraction stuff in here a little bit, but the next book, that's just how to handle breakups, no contact rule, etc., etc. Basically, it's a compilation of information that I've gathered over the past 4 years of coaching. The next book, which comes out in about a week or two, that will be about dating, red flags, modern women, you know, self-improvement, masculinity, all that stuff is going to be in that book. That book's going to be longer, but it's, again, no fat. All the bullshit is trimmed. There's no extra garbage that needs to be there to make the book longer, which makes people more money. Coaching sessions are still on the go right now. So you can also, I changed it. You don't have to go to my website anymore. Just book the Calendly link and bam, you're off to the races. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Is extremely easy when we let it be easy, but also letting go is extremely hard if we believe letting go is hard. Now, in this video, I want to show you the 7 tips that have made letting go so much easier for me, even at times when I believed letting go was impossible. First tip with this is to become aware of what attachment you have and how that's helping you to avoid feeling certain emotions. So this is an interesting part of the process, is a lot of times what we do is we may have an attachment. Maybe that attachment is to a belief about ourselves. Maybe it's to a person. Maybe it's to someone in your past. Maybe the attachment is to people thinking about you in a certain way or what other people think about you. And what happens is these attachments we think are there because we need whatever that is. The belief is if I have that person, then I'll be enough. Then I'll be happy. If these...
One more, I'm going to go back 5 seconds so we stay where we're at. One more thing to add to that is letting go might make me lonely. See, a lot of people, because I do obviously a lot of coaching sessions with people, they think the idea of letting go is going to make them completely alone, lonely, and to a degree it is, but you have to become comfortable with being that way because you're always with yourself. You have to be comfortable being with yourself. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. When I'm alone, I feel I'm pretty much the happiest. It's not that I don't like my wife or, you know, my friends or whatever, but I get to express and be who I want to be and do what I want to do. And you know, improve myself. I'm pointing over there because that's my bookshelf, and do what I want to do. And that's when I get to do this, right? I don't have a business or a YouTube partner that I do this with, right? So letting go might make me lonely. That's a big thing, and that's caused by fear that we'll be alone. And of course, a lot of people that are going through a breakup right now are in the grief stage. So these two are pretty major when it comes to what's going on right now. And they're like, okay, I don't want to let go because if I let go, then there's an old version of you and then there's the version of you that you want to become, right? That's what we need to focus on. That's what my coaching does. That's what I do with students. I'm like, you know, this is the version of you that you are now, and this is the version of you that you want to become, which means you have to let go of the old identities that this person believes. I was literally doing a coaching session the other day, and the guy was just like, he was so used to being a certain way. He's kind of a pleaser, and it's so uncomfortable becoming a person who's not a pleaser, which means you stand up to people, you have a spine, you have, you know, you stand up for what you believe in, you know, go all the way down that road. And he's struggling with it. And I'm like, bro, you got to practice. That's why affirmations are so important, because you affirm, right? You affirm to yourself these same belief systems, because here's the thing, especially some of the guys that I've been doing coaching sessions with lately are like 40 plus, okay? 40 plus years old. You have 40 plus years of conditioning. So if you are a nice guy, or you are weak, or you've been a pleaser for so long, your identity is of those things that you've been doing over and over. Your identity is what you've been doing over and over. So if you're an athlete, your identity is an athlete because you do what athletes do. This is why it's so silly for people who are like, you know, I identify as, and it's like, okay, you can say that if you want to, right? But really, what are you? So I'm a YouTuber, or I should say I do YouTube, because I do it all the time. So that's the idea. So in order to create a new identity, I will add to Aaron's first tip, right? In order to create a new identity, you have to create new habits. Create new habits, guys. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably listen to this in the car, or maybe you're cooking or something while you listen to this stuff, but please write these things down. And I'm kind of crazy, okay? So I put everything that I need to know and repeat in my head on the wall behind me, because I look at this wall every single day. There's one called Nobody Cares, Work Harder. What would Goggins do? As in David Goggins, yes. The 12 Laws of the Universe. Goals, 4 levels of action. The 4 levels of action, in case you guys are wondering, are do nothing, retreat, normal action, and massive action, okay? If you guys want to create new habits, first of all, you have to do them all the time, and then do them on a consistent basis. And the number one issue with human beings is their consistency.
The belief is, if I have that person, then I'll be enough. Then I'll be happy. If these people feel this way about me and they give me the validation or approval or whatever it is, then I will finally feel enough and I can feel safe. The challenge with this is that if that's the belief, then of course it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go when you believe somebody else has your eternal happiness. When you believe someone else has a part of you that you need. And the thing that makes all the difference in the world is when you become aware that the attachment you have is simply a distraction from feeling certain emotions.
Okay, I'm going to also say one more thing. I'm going to make a whole video about this, but it's called The Power of Needing Nothing. So in a sense, that's what Aaron's saying. So the power of needing nothing, okay, it means if you externalize your happiness, that externalization controls you. Okay, women, money, for any of the ladies watching, men, money, having a great body, and you should have a good body. I'm not trying to tell you to be unhealthy. What I'm trying to tell you is when you just stick to the process of that. Don't beat yourself up because you're 20 pounds over what you think you need to weigh. Okay, because a lot of Instagram people live that life, right? But what you don't see behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff is the unhappiness that follows. Okay, a lot of these people are on crazy diets. They're never eating, you know. And look, again, a lot of them make livings that way, so I understand. I totally get it. I'm not knocking on them. You shouldn't need anything in your life. I have people that fight me on this. They're like, they'll say things like, we're supposed to be in relationships. And I agree with that. I think we're supposed to experience each other. But to live a life of happiness, you do not need to be in a relationship. But you want to be in them, right? You want to experience somebody else's energy and have that energy affect yours. And what I will say to that is make sure if you're doing that, you're doing it with a good person that has a positive outlook on life, because it's just not worth your peace. Sacrificing your peace for somebody else's. Again, this is the whole like white knight, I got to save her mentality.
And they say that a lot of times these emotions are either a mix of fear, grief, or anger. So at a certain level.
So what did I say? I said fear and grief, right? He said
there may
fear
be an
behind
avoidance of looking at anger. Let's think about this in the whole nice guy persona thing. Some people, especially empathic people, may identify as being a nice guy or a people pleaser. Normally, under a nice guy or a people pleaser, what's happening is there's this fake facade that's putting up. The facade is, I'm going to be very nice, and this also gets back to manipulation. I read this book recently, and it talked about manipulation, and it uses words to understand the deeper meaning of it. Now, think of it like this. Think of like a nice guy who was once a baby, who was given the nipple of the mom, and that was the source of everything. That was the source of comfort, the source of nurturing, the source of nutrients. And then at a certain point, the nipple went away or it wasn't around. And what happens is, in order for some people to get their needs met, what they do is they manipulate other people so that they can get the teat. They can get the nipple. And what they're doing is they're going over to people and they're like, are you the nipple? Are you the nipple? And then other people feel that needy energy and they're like, get away from me. Find your source within yourself. And that's why that journey is normally you must be the source of your own happiness and let go of the belief, the attachment that everyone else become the teat. So it's kind of a metaphor there. It's kind of a funny metaphor. But nonetheless, that's what a lot of times people pleasers and nice guys, manipulation, man-nipple-ation. They want the nipple in everything and they're looking for the source outside of themselves. So the attachment is the belief. The attachment is the awareness. And a lot of times the attachment is a distraction from feeling your own emotions. So the key to this is that actually, and this is something I've been doing recently when it comes to looking at any attachment I have, and honestly, feeling the patterns in my body that come from childhood, and allowing myself to feel it to heal it. Because as you bring awareness into presence, that allows the energy to leave your body from the childhood dynamics.
Feel it to heal it. So this is exactly what I cover in coaching. So feel the damn pain. When you welcome it and you face it, that's when it will go. See, the point is, and so the problem is, and what everyone does, all the students, everyone wants to avoid the pain, right? Again, it's the whole buffalo and cow, the storm. Again, cows run away from the storm. Cows run away from the storm. Buffalo run towards the storm. And basically, when the storm is, and again, when you're in the storm, you don't know how long the storm is going to last for, which is what you guys are afraid of. You guys are afraid of sitting in your pain for so long, and you're afraid that it will consume you. It won't. The pain does not last forever. It will subside. You guys need to know that. And you guys already do know that, but you want the reassurance. That's what a lot of coaching sessions really are. I'll be honest with you. That's the truth. A lot of you guys really, you guys want to obviously know your situation. If your situation is salvageable or whatever, but you also want to know that you'll be okay in a sense, right? So let's say this is the storm and everyone's trying to run away from the storm. Get me away from it, get me away from it. Instead of just, ultimately, when you face this, you're going to learn some shit in here about yourself. And you're going to come across on the other side a better person, a better version of you, better and stronger. Because again, what did I say earlier? You become identified. So look, when you go through something, you're not going to think this way. You're not be like, oh my God, I'm stronger now because I went through my breakup. You don't think like that. It's true, but you don't sit around consciously going, oh my God, I'm so much stronger because I went through my breakup. That's what you're going to do when you look back in hindsight. Okay. And you're going to be like, okay, man, like I made it through that. When you consciously become aware of it, I guess you have to remind yourself, right? And you think back, like when I think back to all my breakups, for example, let me put it this way. It doesn't feel like anything now because I went through them. That's how I became who I am today, to teach this stuff to you guys, to learn about letting go in general, to learn about female nature and what women want. And see, a lot of people even think that that's a negative thing to say, which is so weird. Men are a certain way and women are a certain way. And learning about each other means that you're interested in that party. We can all pretend to be like, oh, you know, fucking women and men. But really, we're here to date each other and be around each other. And one of the laws of the universe is law of polarity, which means in a relationship, right? And this goes for lesbian and gay relationships too, masculine, okay, and feminine, okay? One of the two people involved, it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't have to be drastic, but the more drastic it is, the more polarized the relationship is, which means the relationship will have a lot of, attraction and magnetic energy. It will be one of those relationships where it just feels really strong and there's a lot of polarity and they like each other a lot, right? So again, that's why I said in my previous one of my previous two videos, the more masculine you are, fellas. Okay, don't get more. And the world's turning you into more of a feminine guy. I'm never going to tell you to shit on people because it's wrong. You should harness your masculinity and understand and help other people and be kind to other people. Protect others, right? Harness your masculinity. But the more, and again, like I said, in a gay or lesbian relationship, say it was two women, right? One of those two is usually going to be more masculine than the other, or else there's no polarity, which means there's no attraction. The relationship will fall apart. If there's no attraction, there's no love. Love and attraction. Okay, let's say these two are together. Love and attraction, picture it like a string. And I learned this, I can't take credit for this. I learned this from Chris Canwell from develofattraction.com. Of course, Develop Attraction YouTube channel. So let's say this is love and attraction. When attraction falls, this is attached. Love will fall with it. So let's say this is the threshold. Jesus, the eraser. If I tap the pen twice, the eraser comes up. Let's say this is the threshold where somebody will leave you. And you do things to lower the attraction, or don't do something, which can also lower attraction. Once it crosses this threshold, that's when the relationship ends. So a lot of people don't understand this. They think that, and this is, okay, let's say attraction's here, right? But love is still over here or whatever. This is when you hear like, they won't stay with you, by the way. No matter, like, if both of these cross that threshold, they will not, one or both, they won't stay with you. But this is when you hear shit like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Right? That kind of wordage. So anyway, let's get back to the video.
Because here's an interesting thing, and this is the second one that I want to share with you when it comes to the tip to letting go. It's understanding that there really is no outside.
Ooh.
There really, even when you look at the triggers in your life, your friend not calling you back, somebody else saying something to you that ticks you off, somebody else showing up late, whatever the trigger is in your life, you think that it has to do with them. You might think there's a story there. People always do this to me. People are always late. Whatever the story is a reflection of an energy signature, of an energy. And the key is realizing that energy, the story is not true. And the story is, whatever the trigger is, that's a messenger. You should be grateful that came to you because it allows you to integrate something about yourself that you weren't aware of before. So don't shoot the messenger. The key is taking responsibility for that energy and realizing a lot of times the things that are the biggest triggers for you were also between 0 and 7 years old, that life cycle. Things happen in that life cycle that then repeat themselves at least every 7 years because of that energy dynamic.
That's not the first time I've heard that, by the way, just so you guys understand. The whole 7-year thing. Elliot Hulse also talked about that. 7 years, every 7 years, and there's also one every, I think, 12 years. We go through this cycle. So it's so funny. Elliot put out a video on Instagram not long ago. I was just doom scrolling one day, and it gets the best of us, right? And he said every 12 years or so, 13 years, sometimes something like that. And it's not always a science. It's not always direct, but he's like, think about where you were. And he's like, that's why a lot of men around 27 years old start to figure out their life, and they start to take life more seriously, which is, I say this all the time in all my videos. I turned my life around at 27, and I never saw that video before. That he just came out that video just not long ago. But that's what happened with me, because when I got to that age, I was like, I need to start taking things more seriously because I'm going to be 30 soon, right? Which meant I'm going to, it's almost like there is a force out there, because once you turn 25 or so, life, the world, other people, they start to look at you and go, oh man, you got to get your shit together, bro. Because, we go to college, university. Most of us get out, like, especially if you're in for like a relatively long time, especially, and if you go right into university, college, right after you turn 18, 19 years old, you're going to get out at 23, 24 years old, 25 sometimes, right? Depending on what you're taking, of course. Some are longer. And I don't know if it's that, but I think generally speaking, when you're in your mid to late 20s, if you are still fucking around too much, people are going to look at you a certain way. And we all inherently want to feel respected, want to be respected, and want to, and all that comes with that. So we inherently want to, do things. Does it always mean that it needs to happen that way? No. I created a YouTube channel, which created me a lot of business, right? And then I expanded from there. And when you work on something that you love a lot, it becomes a part of your identity, and then you get competent at it, then you get confident with it. Now you have this, you're in this confident energy all the time, which means if you're that way, you're going to be a confident person. So a lot of you guys are too scatterbrained and you don't know what you're doing. So you're all over the place. You have nowhere, you have no identity. You have nothing to build from. So that's why I'm telling you, that's why I talk about making money, because when you guys get that, I don't want to say get it out of the way, but you figure out what you want to do, the direction you want to take, then you get good at it. Then when you make enough money, you guys can focus on your passions, and you guys can start gaming channels, and you guys can do whatever you want. But I'd say make money first, deliver a lot of value, get really good at it, get good at sales, get good at marketing, get good with people, understand how to talk to people, shit like that. And then later on in your life, I know all of you guys want to be fucking Instagram millionaires now and drive your Lambos around and fly your private jets. It's all bullshit. Right? There's a very few of them that are doing that, and they actually have the money. Then you guys can go and do that when you have your business automated and you're chilling. Okay, that's the road I took.
So healing in this process is about becoming aware of what that energy is and allowing yourself to recognize that the outside is simply a reflection of the inside. That allows you to take more responsibility and to realize that you don't need to look outside to get the needs met. It's all with responsibility. Outside is, and allowing yourself to recognize that the outside is simply a reflection of the inside. That allows you to take more responsibility and to realize that you don't need to look outside to get the needs met. It's all within, and the key is leaning into those emotions. I've shared on my channel before the frame technique. It's the most powerful meditation process I've ever found. It's where you simply bring the awareness in your hands and your feet, and you actually feel the separation between you and a candle flame, you and the walls. And you put the awareness in your heart. And as you put presence in your heart, present moment awareness inside of your heart, any emotions that come up, sometimes people will feel sadness, they'll feel anger, sometimes they'll feel happiness. Whatever emotions come up are the emotions that you haven't allowed yourself to be present with. That's all really healing is. It's not even really healing, it's integrating past emotions. And when you feel it, that's when you heal it. But a lot of times what we do is we void our feelings and we distract ourselves with attachments and the belief that the outside actually is going to change the inside. And it doesn't work that way. Think about getting into a relationship with someone. Finally, I'm enough. Finally, this person's here with me, proving and showing that I am enough. But then eventually, there's probably going to be a fear. Maybe they're going to leave. Or maybe they don't act the way that you want them to act, so you're trying to manipulate them, manipulate them into doing and giving your own needs. Because there's an avoidance of feeling the emotions inside that happened during childhood. Now, the next tip that I want to share with you has to do with becoming aware of the language you use in your life. Now, language is very powerful because language reveals to us what we believe. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about a roommate that they have. And they were talking about how this roommate takes advantage of them. And the language they use to me is, they just know how to run me. They know how to work me. They know how to play me. And there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm thinking, and I told this person, I said, listen to the language you're using. This person is playing me. They know how to work me. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Literally giving away all of your power. I have heard this on coaching calls so many times. Okay. So literally, they'll say, I can't get over her. She knows how to talk to me. She knows how to reel me in. She knows how to reel me in. And literally, I know that looks like shit. Literally, you're giving away all of your power to this person, especially when you talk like this. You talk like this, and wow. You talk like this, and this is you're just Jesus Christ with the eraser. You're just affirming to yourself that you have no power, which means you're going to act in that way, which means you're identified with that way that you're speaking. That's why your affirmations have to be, I am powerful. Okay. Now I know it seems corny, right? I used to think this shit was corny. I want you fellas, and this is an exercise I do with my students. I want you guys to go in and look in the mirror, look yourself in the eye and say, I'm the fucking man. You're going to feel uncomfortable doing that. You're going to look at yourself and be like, whoa, right? And just do it. And what I want you to do is start with one time a day that you say that, and then 3, and then 10, etc., right? And eventually it won't feel weird anymore. When you say, I'm the fucking man, I am powerful, I do this, you're telling and this is the issue, and this is where we have this disconnect with today's education. Your brain and your body, they're the same, and yet they are different, right? So there's the conscious mind, okay, and that's the conscious mind, and this is the subconscious mind in terms of the power that it has. Now, here's the thing about the subconscious mind. It will believe whatever you tell it. This is my 32-year-old brain telling you about my last 6 years of education and reading. So if anybody knows more than I do, please chime in and maybe correct me. But what I've read is this is far more powerful. This is where all your beliefs lie. This is all the stuff that you think and feel and act, etc. This right here is damn eraser. This is and the reason why. So we use this here. That's the conscious mind as a gatekeeper. Okay. And this helps the subconscious mind not believe every single thing that you hear. But here's what happens when you have an open mind. It's not that this isn't there. It's just, maybe it's semi-permeable. Okay. So, maybe there's like little slits here like that. Okay. Where you're willing to take in information. And this is not really scientifically how this works, I guess, but your conscious mind is the gatekeeper, so that your subconscious mind just doesn't believe whatever you tell it. So that way you can go, okay, and this is how you learn things. And your conscious mind is what's going to let us. So the fact that you guys are trying to learn this stuff and trying to get better means that you're trying to influence this. And you're going to have resistance sometimes. Sometimes this right here is going to go, no, because earlier in my life, I learned something from over here that contradicts this, right? This happens with people who are religious, right? They grow up, so they're identified with their beliefs, with Christianity, Catholic, Islam, whatever it is that you believe, right? And again, I'm not taking a dump on any of that. Believe whatever you want. I have my own beliefs too. When something contradicts another, that's when people fight. How many wars have we had over religious stuff, right? The point is and here's the true sign of intelligence. Can you look at another person's perspective and not become identified with it? And this is what happens with TikTok, and this is what's happening with our world today. We're bombarded with all this information, and then we take it as fact and then move on with our life instead of having the critical thinking cap on and going, man, is this true? A, does this serve me? B, right? And of course, with all the stuff that happened from 2020 and onwards, there's a lot of crap coming out about the jab and the poke. A lot of it was bullshit. That was the shit that they were telling you in the media before. They were saying that you can't get it or whatever, and all of it's coming out now that most of it was just trash. Most of it was garbage. And this is how we learn shit, because when we go through the bad experience of it, we go, okay, maybe next time around, I'm not going to do it like this. Next time around, I'm going to do it better. And that's what we're here to do, guys, in my opinion.
Is playing me, they know how to work me, and there's nothing I can do about it. You could be in your own frame and make choices, especially because this person was like the one that was like renting the house that like could make the rules, but they didn't even know they had that power because their language was revealing that. Their language was revealing the belief they had in their lack of power. But let your language show you what you believe. If you believe letting go is hard, then become aware that that's what you believe. Yes, I believe it's hard. That's why it's hard. Remember, letting go is easy because letting go is simply a choice you make. You make a choice to let something go.
I say that every single day to my students. Letting go is a choice, right? It's a choice. I just want to reaffirm that to you guys, because everything that you're holding on to, you're choosing to hold on to that and let that identify you. You're choosing to let that, to give that thing power. A lot of us choose to give power to things that are absolutely absurd and just nonsense. Like say you let certain words that somebody else says offend you, right? You're giving that word power. You're giving those people power that use that word. There's all kinds of things that we can do to come out of that kind of stuck energy and stuck mentality.
If I have my phone and I make a choice, I'm going to let this go. All I got to do is make the choice. Now, the thing is, it's harder to make that choice when it's something we really like. Mm-hmm. Like imagine this was a very fragile phone that would break if I dropped it. Now I'm putting importance on it, right? Putting importance on the phone. I don't want it to break. So letting go is hard because if it breaks, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to buy a new phone. There's all these other mixed signals and things there. That's how it works a lot of times with the attachments we have. We put a story onto the attachment. Oh, why is it hard? You know, like imagine there's a rock. It's hard to let go of it's not hard to let go of a rock, you just let it go. But if that rock was the rock that your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend gave you, your mom or grandma originally gave it to you, and you feel a loyalty to the rock because it was in your family lineage, then of course it's going to feel a lot harder to let go of that rock because there's so much story put onto that. But the key is becoming aware of what that story is. Not even, here's the thing, I take that back. You do not need to become aware of what the story actually is. Behind the story, there's an emotion. And what is that emotion? The key is feeling the emotion. Sometimes insight will come from that. For example, another tip I'm going to share with you, and I'll just get into it now, is using your dreams as a powerful way of working through this energy. Because as you commit to this process of detaching from attachment, and as you feel the emotions you haven't allowed yourself to feel, your subconscious mind and your body goes through a process of purging out past emotion and past experience, which then results, by the way, sometimes people do this because they want to change the outside. A side effect of feeling the emotions you haven't allowed yourself to feel is that then people start responding to you differently. You don't attract the same experiences in your life over and over again. Whereas normally you will attract, in that first 7-year period, if you had somebody that came into your life that then betrayed you, you might find that every so often somebody betrays you. Why do I keep attracting the same person over and over again? Well, it's because that energy pattern is there, and that energy pattern is what is keeping that energy alive. So the key is feeling into that. Now, what I wanted to share with you is, lately I've been going through the lesson in the attachment that I have, that I've always been like letting go of in my life, is the attachment to control. Controlling outcome, wanting to know everything about where my life is going. And I'm in a transition right now where I'm moving from an identity of being on YouTube for years to 2023 committing to many live events, not just one. I did one main live event and then retreats in 2022. 2023, it's like I just want to get into the energy of running live events. And I'm finding myself, there's like almost I'm working through the control of not knowing exactly when we're doing what. I'm kind of figuring it out, but there's like a fear of like letting go of the whole YouTuber identity. And part of that fear has come with me having very interesting dreams. For example, one night I had a dream where I was in this car, and dreams are subconscious representations of energy dynamics that we're working through in our life. It's a subconscious purging. You can actually do a lot of work in your dreams. And it's not absolutely necessary to remember every little dream. However, it's very powerful to become aware of these different things. One night I had a dream where I was driving in my car, my Tesla, and then what happened is I was in the passenger seat and there was nobody in the driver's seat. And then I became aware there was no one in the driver's seat. I started to freak out, and then I realized the car was drifting into like a different space, and I tried getting in the passenger seat, or into the driver's seat before it crashed, but like then as I got in the driver's seat, I like fell asleep or some shit. It was really weird. But it was a dream to me that was all about losing control, not feeling in control, and that fear, and it was representing that to me. 2 nights later, I have a dream where I am in a plane, like a helicopter plane. It was like a mix of both. It's kind of weird. And I'm in this plane, and once again, I'm in the back of it, and it's just driving itself, and it was fun. I was like flying, I could feel it. And then what happened is I realized it started to like move in that weird direction, like a helicopter would, like it's about to crash. And then I went to the front and tried steering it in the right direction, but it was too late. And then I crashed, and I thought I died, but I didn't. And then the next part of the dream, I was like on this truck driving to this place where the plane was going to get fixed, and like the plane, I was in the car, and then the plane was on the back of the car. I don't know the meaning of that, but nonetheless, what I realized is those 2 memories of losing control came up, and then I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was integrating that experience and explaining it, and he asked me an interesting question. Was there ever a point in your life where you felt like you weren't in control and it was a lot of fear that was there? Immediately, a memory poked out to me. When I was like 5 years old, I was I was with my dad and my mom, maybe even 4 years old. Wow, because my parents divorced when I was 5. I may have been 3 or 4 years old. I didn't know I was that young. And what happened was I was at an apartment complex where my uncle lived, and I was with my grandma, my dad, my mom. I don't even know if my brother was born yet, so I may have been like 3. And what happened is I was like in the pool, and I was like swimming, and then all of a sudden I was drowning in the community apartment pool. And I could feel myself grasping for air and then seeking down, and then I started going to panic. And then what happened is just in the nick of time, when I think I was about to like die or something, like I literally was like panic mode, my dad pulls me out. My dad saw me somehow and pulled me out, thankfully. When that happened, there was a feeling of not being in control. The depths of the water were scary. I was in the unknown. And what I then did is became aware of this, and then the key was me allowing myself to feel in that energy of that fear. I would then in meditation be bringing the awareness into my heart, bringing the awareness to my body, and let myself feel the fear from that moment when I was 5 or 3 or whatever. And as I feel it, I'm allowing that energy to leave my life. And then the awareness has come of where else in my life am I doing that? Because remember, 90% of all transformation is awareness. And as you become aware, that's where then you can make a new choice. You don't have to let that hold you back any longer. Now, another thing I'll share with you when it comes to letting go is hold you.
Let me go back for a sec.
Or 3 or whatever. And as I feel it, I'm allowing that energy to leave my life. And then the awareness has come of where else in my life am I doing that? Because remember, 90% of all transformation is awareness.
I love that. 90% of all transformation is awareness. And I would say the rest is choice. Right? Oh, let me switch over to the right screen. 90% awareness. Right? And then the other, I would say the other 10% is choice. Because when you choose to make different decisions, when you make different decisions, you become identified with those decisions, those habits, those ways of thinking. And then when you do that, that is when your life will completely change. So again, when I talk about, again, making cash online or, you know, just in self-improvement or whatever, and the reason I talk about it so much is because it made such a drastic difference in me, because I get to choose to what I do now, right? I get to do whatever I want. And when you get to do whatever you want, you can educate yourself as much as you want or don't want, right? It's not about the money itself. It's about the freedom that it provides. It's about what you can do afterwards. You can focus on who you need to become. That's where I will leave this video. That video is very powerful. It's very good. And I'll see you guys in the next video.